How many times has Loki actually died? And does it count if it's a Loki from an alternate reality? How about an alligator? All MCU fans know the God of Mischief has been through a lot. Here's Loki's timeline explained. Loki was born on Jotunheim as Loki Laufeyson, child of the frost giant king. But throughout most of Loki's upbringing, the truth of his lineage was hidden from him, and he was raised as Odin's own son. Loki began to question his parentage as he got older, however, and finally confronted Odin by asking him directly where he came from. Odin revealed that centuries prior, he led the Asgardians into battle against Laufey's forces and ultimately prevailed. In defeat, however, Laufey abandoned his child. Odin took the little one in and raised him as his own. He hoped that one day, Loki's dual parentage might help unite the two rival realms, with Loki taking his birth father's place as king of Jotunheim while still being loyal to Odin.
And if I do, then what?
It would be a long time before Loki truly understood his origins and his father's love for him. Though we've not seen much of Loki's youth on Asgard, we do know he and his brother had a contentious relationship. Loki's penchant for mischief emerged early on. In the madcap Thor Ragnarok, we learn of several of his childhood antics, including the time he turned himself into a snake to bait his brother into a vicious stabbing.
We were 8 at the time.
Thor wasn't without his own wicked sense of humor, though. He often used Loki as bait himself as part of their get help ruse, in which they faked distress to escape trouble.
Get help! Please! My brother's dying! Get help! Help him! Classic.
The brothers truly loved each other, but Loki believed their father favored Thor, which caused bitter jealousy and resentment. Loki's feelings were seemingly confirmed by Odin's words to him and his brother when they were young.
Only one of you can ascend to the throne, but both of you were born to be kings.
Loki knew full well Odin intended Thor to succeed him on that throne. Still, Loki remained close to his family, particularly his mother, Frigga. He shared a deep love and bond with her, especially as it was she who taught him sorcery. His respect and devotion to her didn't stop him from engaging in troublesome pranks, though, like when he visited Midgard as D.B. Cooper, turned Thor into a frog, and cut off a lock of Sif's hair. After many years, Odin finally becomes ready to hand the throne over to one of his sons, as seen in 2011's Thor. Loki's greatest fear is made a reality. Thor is chosen over him. Unbeknownst to nearly everyone, Loki makes a deal with the frost giants of Jotunheim, providing them with an entrance into Asgard as Thor's coronation begins. While Odin is able to thwart the invasion with the use of the destroyer, Loki manages to goad his brother into a reckless attack on Jotunheim without their father's approval. It's all part of a plan to get Thor out of his father's good graces. After Loki learns of his true parentage, he feels betrayed by Odin for keeping such secrets, and enraged by the fact that he's been used as a pawn to unite the 9 realms.
Because no matter how much you claim to love me, you're gonna never have a frost giant sitting on the throne of Asgard.
Incensed, he seizes the throne and plots with the frost giants to have Odin killed. But upon returning from Earth and after learning of his brother's schemes, Thor confronts Loki and eventually defeats him. Loki falls off the Rainbow Bridge to parts unknown. After this, Loki finds himself working for Thanos, who has begun a quest to collect the 6 legendary Infinity Stones. Loki is given a scepter powered by the Mind Stone and tasks him with collecting the Tesseract, a cosmic cube that contains the Space Stone. In exchange, Loki will get to rule Earth with the help of the Chitauri army. After Loki steals the Tesseract, however, Thor tracks him down. With the help of Captain America and Iron Man, he apprehends Loki and brings him into the custody of Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. A new team is assembled to stop Loki, but the God of Mischief is prepared and devises a plan to turn them against one another. It almost works, but not quite. The newly minted Avengers are too mighty even for Loki, and ultimately prevail. In the end, Loki is taken into custody by Thor and returned to his own realm to face Asgardian justice. He not only fails Thanos, he allows 2 Infinity Stones to fall into human hands.
What happened? Silver tongue turned to lead?
Returned to Asgard, Loki stands before Odin in judgment for his actions on Earth. The All-Father spares his life, but only because Frigga pleads on her wayward son's behalf. Loki is sentenced to eternal imprisonment in the dungeons beneath the royal palace. While he endures his confinement, wars raged throughout the Nine Realms, thanks to the destruction of the Bifrost Bridge. But when the Dark Elves attack Asgard, killing Frigga, Loki is distraught, and when they proceed to escape Asgard, Loki gets his chance to be set free. Loki is asked to help Thor in a bid for vengeance on the Dark Elves, and offered an attractive deal. He will gain freedom from his eternal sentence should they succeed. As part of a daring plan, Loki uses a devious illusion to fool Malekith, and then fakes his own death. Unwilling to risk losing his newfound liberty and seeing a unique opportunity in his present circumstances, the God of Mischief confuses Odin with another illusion and sends him to Midgard. In Odin's form, Loki finally takes what he believes is his rightful place as king of Asgard. When Thor comes to him, even he is fooled by the deception, allowing Loki to grant him freedom to explore the Nine Realms. He knows Thor's love of adventure will keep him far from Asgard. Unfortunately, after Thor defeats the demon Surtur and brings his crown back to Asgard, he becomes suspicious of Odin, who rules their ancestral home with casual decadence. Exposed, Loki takes Thor to Midgard to see their father, who is near death. After Odin's last breath is exhaled, Hela, the goddess of death and the brother's hidden sister, is unleashed. Thor and Loki attempt to get away through Heimdall's Rainbow Bridge, but Hela manages to throw them off course, which lands them both on a far-off planet called Sakaar. Loki finds himself in the presence of an immortal being called the Grand Master, the ruler of Sakaar. Charming his way into the Grand Master's good graces, Loki becomes a friend and confidant to the cosmic being. Things change when, in an odd bit of time displacement, Thor lands on Sakaar some weeks after Loki and finds himself fighting in the Contest of Champions. What's more, he's matched up against none other than Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk. After battling the Hulk before the roaring crowd, Thor begins planning a rebellion so he can return to Asgard to defeat Hela and save their world. Loki refuses to join him, feeling it'll be a futile maneuver. But then the former Asgardian warrior known as Valkyrie captures Loki to prevent him from exposing Thor's escape. He helps them break free of the Grand Master, but is left behind when he predictably attempts to betray him.
Dear brother, becoming predictable. I trust you. You betray me round and round in circles we go.
Later, Loki goes on to have a change of heart and convinces the rebels to travel to Asgard. With their help, he hopes to join Thor and Valkyrie in their attempt to defeat Hela and save their realm from total annihilation. Though the group fights valiantly, it becomes clear that defeating Hela means destroying Asgard. The decision is made to abandon the glittering realm and take the Asgardians into the stars to search for a new home. At the outset of Avengers: Infinity War, Loki is aboard the Asgardian refugee ship, where he and Thor have set a course for Earth. But just as Loki expresses apprehension about how he might be received there, given his attempt to conquer the planet years prior, the ship is attacked by Thanos' vessel. Audiences aren't privy to the violent fight to defend the ship, only witnessing its direct aftermath. Thanos' Black Order, stepping over the Asgardian dead who litter the deck of their ship. Loki and Thor have been left alive, and when Thanos finally makes an appearance, he demands to know the location of the Tesseract that houses the Space Stone. In an attempt to get close enough to the Mad Titan to strike a killing blow, Loki produces the cube and offers it freely, along with his allegiance. But Thanos sees through Loki's ruse. As Thor watches helplessly, Thanos grips Loki by the throat and snaps his neck, killing him once and for all. After countless ages of tormenting Asgard, fighting alongside his brother, and exploring the mysteries of magic, Loki, son of Asgard, God of Mischief, brother of Thor, is dead at the hands of an interstellar tyrant. Let's back up a bit to the events of 2012's The Avengers, when Loki attempts to use the Mind Stone and a Chitauri army to conquer Earth. There, a group of Avengers from some 10 years in the future arrive via a time machine devised by Tony Stark using Hank Pym's quantum technology. In their timeline, that of Avengers Endgame, Thanos has eliminated half of all life in the universe. They're embarking on a risky plan to steal the Infinity Stones from the past to undo the damage of their future. While the original plan is to pluck the stones from the timeline and return them without anyone ever noticing, things go quickly awry, which creates an entirely new timeline. While they attempt to steal the Tesseract after Loki's defeat in New York, an ill-timed interruption by the Hulk comically fumbles the cube. leaving it at the God of Mischief's feet. Creating a new branching timeline, Loki grabs the cube and uses its portal powers to escape Thor's custody. In the Prime timeline, Thor takes him back to Asgard to stand before Odin's judgment. In this new one, the future is unwritten.
I really don't see what all the fuss is about.
Freed from the Avengers' keeping, Loki finds himself transported to a vast desert, home to people who don't seem to recognize him. After a few confused moments, this errant Loki is located and scooped up by the Time Variance Authority, an extra-dimensional organization that monitors and eliminates alternate timelines. Loki's theft of the Tesseract and its branching reality is not part of their sacred timeline, which means the TVA is intent on pruning him. Brought before one of their best agents, Mobius M. Mobius, Loki is given a glimpse of the original timeline's future. He sees his mother's death during the Dark Elves' invasion of Asgard, Odin's quiet passing, the amends he makes with his brother, and even his own demise at Thanos' hands. Mobius then offers Loki a deal. In exchange for his help in tracking down yet another Loki variant who is apparently wreaking havoc in the time stream, he'll be saved from pruning. With few other options available, Loki agrees. After a complicated hunt through history, Loki discovers his troublesome variant is a woman named Sylvie, who is, like him, the adopted child of Odin and Frigga in another reality. But Sylvie becomes the target of the Time Variance Authority in her youth, and was accordingly captured and scheduled for pruning. Sylvie managed to steal a TVA TemPad device and get away, however. She's remained on the run ever since. Over the course of her long existence, she has learned that the TVA isn't exactly what it appears to be, and neither are the so-called timekeepers. Loki is fascinated and even charmed by Sylvie. Curious what secrets she knows, desperate to escape the TVA, and experiencing sheer affection, he joins her on her quest. Initially, Sylvie does not want Loki's help, and even attempts to kill him, on more than one occasion, no less. But the pair are eventually stuck together on a doomed world, and bond over their shared experiences. Now true allies, they set out to reach the realm at the end of time, in the hopes of uncovering the TVA's deepest, darkest secret. Running out of options, Loki and Sylvie end up in a region called the Void, where variants are sent after pruning. There, they meet several different variants of Loki, including an alligator Loki, a kid Loki, and a middle-aged Loki.
Always so perceptive about everyone but yourself.
Together, they battle a giant beast known as Alioth, who watches over the Void and serves as the gatekeeper of the Citadel at the end of time. Once they are victorious, Loki and Sylvie are able to get through to the Citadel and confront the supreme being known only as He Who Remains. The mysterious He Who Remains reveals himself to be a man from the distant future. He discovered the multiverse and many variants of himself, which set off the multiversal war. After emerging victorious, He Who Remains set up the Citadel and created the TVA to ensure no such war could ever happen again. He offers Loki and Sylvie a simple choice: take over the TVA and guard the sacred timeline in his stead, or kill him and unleash the multiverse and countless evil versions of himself who seek nothing less than total domination over all reality. While Loki is unsure, Sylvie is convinced it's all a lie.
Why aren't we seeing this the same way?
She stabs He Who Remains through the heart, killing him and opening up a new multiversal era of the MCU. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite MCU stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.